Today I want to talk about my experience of recently blowing a funded account. Don't get me wrong, I still have multiple funded accounts, but I hadn't blown any funded accounts for a very long time. I was averaging, I used to say 2.2 payouts, but I had made the calculation and it's been 2.8 payouts every single week. But today, it came into the end. Why? Because I blew a funded account. Now, I want to talk to you about my protocol of blowing funded accounts, how I look at blowing funded accounts, and basically just answering the question, what now? Really, you know, because a lot of people, like, they get into the stress of, oh my god, I can't believe that this is happening, when in reality, it doesn't really matter. So I want to go through everything. I want to go through what happened. I want to go through the Phoenix protocol, how I'm bouncing back, and the lessons I got from failing. So let's start off with what happened. Well, first, three things. A normal trading losing streak, which happens to everyone. You hop on a losing streak, I hop on a losing streak, that's fine. I was risking a little bit more on single funded accounts because I still had so many funded accounts that I didn't mind upping up the risk on one specific funded account in order to get bigger payouts. You guys know how this goes. I want to get not only consistent payouts, but I want to get good payouts, right? Then obviously the Oat system was one of the reasons why one account failed, but it's also one of the reasons as to why it doesn't really matter over the long term. And then obviously maybe a little bit of emotion. You know, you're trading, you make mistakes, and then once you make mistakes, you start going into this cycle of, well, I'm maybe gonna make more mistakes, and then I'm gonna enter in this trade that I shouldn't enter, in this trade, in this trade. We'll talk about all of these. So first of all, I want to talk about the fact that it was a normal losing streak. One of the things that I need you to understand is that every time that you are in a losing streak, it very likely is normal. What I mean by that is that this is your percentage strike rate. Even if you have a 50% strike rate, which is a good strike rate, let's say you have a 50% strike rate, there is a 97.1% chance, meaning basically a 100% chance that you are going to get 6 losing trades in a row. If your strike rate is 60%, there is still a 37.7% chance that you are going to get 5 losing trades in a row. And this is only over a 50 trade period, right? There's charts that are better. There's charts that show you over a 1000 trade period. Let me actually show you those. Those are much better. So you can see I grabbed this from the course itself, which you can sign up with the link in the description. Very high quality, blah, blah, blah. Over 1000 trade sequence, the probability of you entering in a 7 trade losing streak with a 60% strike rate is 80%. Of you entering in a 7 trade losing streak, right? Now imagine I wasn't risking 1%. So entering in this 7 trade losing streak, even though my strike rate is way above 50%, it still gives me a good chance that I'm going to enter in 6 trades in a row that are losers. In 99% chance, meaning a 100% chance that you're going to enter in 5 losing trades in a row. So if you're just risking 2%, you're already probably going to blow the account eventually. And that day finally came. Obviously, thankfully enough, I received enough payouts to pay for that account over and over again. But I want to show you that a losing streak is normal. So if you are blowing an account and you are risking more than 1%, the likelihood of that happening is very high. So I entered in a couple of losing trades in a row. So we have one trade, 1/2 an hour loss. We have a -1. And then this was actually a beautiful win. But at this point, I had already gotten over the account, and so this one I took on another one, which I did end up locking a very solid payout. But that is really what happened. It was just a normal losing streak. I stuck to the plan. I was always entering on longs based on my daily bias being bullish, and so the market just didn't play out. You can see that the market still went to all of my targets. It simply didn't go when I wanted it to go, which is perfectly fine, especially because over that week period, I was still able to profit. Now, risking more was 100% the reason as to why I lost the account. I have a lot of funding, which means that it's more acceptable to be risking more. But what I want to say with this is that if you only have one account, you shouldn't really be risking more than 0.5, right? Well, I'm talking about funded accounts. The reason I say that is because what do you want to do with trading? Why do you want this funded account? You want it because you want to make money, right? So when people are risking way too much, let's even say 1, 2, 3% on their account, when you only have one account, you are going to blow it. And you are now going to lose all of the possibilities of you actually making money from that account, right? That is the issue. It's not that, oh, you can't make money. It's that you're trying to make way too much money when you should be focusing on consistent payouts. There's one thing that I care about, and I say this to everyone in the community, which you can sign up with the link in the description. I tell this to everyone in the community, which is your number one goal is to make consistent money. No payout is a small payout, but I want you to make consistent money, right? I'm not here for you guys to make $10,000 in one payout and then taking 1 year to finally get the next payout. I'm here for you to make consistently $2,000, $2,000, $2,000, $2,000. That's the beauty of trading, right? So a lot of funding, it's more acceptable to risk more, but if it's you, I don't recommend you ever risking more than 0.5% on one funded account if you only have one or even two, right? Because you want to reduce the probability of you blowing the account and increase the probability of you continuously getting payouts. Again, I have here my certificate. I'm max allocated with FTMO. I have great results with FundedX. I have great results with funding pips, which by the way, you can check the link in the description. Code Kimmel will always give you the best discount code. And then the fact that I use my Oat system is one of the reasons as to why this was fine. And I'll show you why I have this turtle mating right here on my screen, because I already talked about the Oat system when I was talking about the risk management. But the Oat system is simply the concept of you have multiple accounts and you just profit on one and you go to the other. You profit on that one and you go to another. You profit on this one, you go to the other. And then eventually when this first account already has the payout locked in and you already received the payout, that's when you go back into trading this account and this cycle starts all over again. And the reason I say that is because if you blow this account, you still have 3 other accounts. So slowly but surely you are locking in profits. And the reason I have this here is because, and the reason I have the turtle is because slow and steady wins the race. Instead of trying to take the whole cake, you try to take a little bit. You try to take a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. And at the end of the year, you're going to have a massive cake. Believe me, I've been there. I've done it. I've made great returns just from following this system. That's why we're talking about 2.8 payouts every single week. It's absolutely insane, but it's all because of this system, right? And this, the reason I have this here, one, I absolutely love this meme. The first thing I thought about was the turtle and the rabbit story, where the turtle was slowly but surely going and the rabbit was sprinting and then stopping, sprinting and then stopping. And who won? It was the turtle at the end of the day. You've all heard that story. So this story is true to this day. Everyone that tries to get to the goal quick will get there much later than someone that is going slow and steady. I can tell you, I've seen people making $10,000 and then I never see them having a payout ever again. And then I've seen people getting funded over and over again and getting $2,000, $3,000 every single week. And those will get to the 100K in payouts way quicker than someone that is trying to go for one home run and that's it. The turtle is always going to win slow and steady as you are building the number of funded accounts that you have. But yeah, this is the thing. This is what happened to me. Well, I was risking a little bit more because I didn't only have 4, I had more accounts, but then 1 is now gone. But that's fine because that's like, what, 20% of my account? Well, no, it's less than 20% of my accounts, but it's not a lot. So I still have 4, 5, 6 funded accounts that I can still make money from. So that's what I want to tell you. That's why this is important. So if you're watching this video, maybe you have over-risked, right? So especially if you only have 1 account. Now, emotion is definitely a possibility. Why do I say this? Well, the reason I have here a picture of you and I have a picture of myself is because we're the same, right? I just have information that you might not know, or I just have experience that you might not have. And it's normal. But we both have emotions. I'm not unemotional. You see that me, I get frustrated during the videos because I'm thinking about you making stupid decisions on your funded accounts. So the fact I still get emotional. I'm getting riled up right now. We're human. Emotions are normal. Now, yes, emotions are normal, but they shouldn't dictate your trading results. They should dictate maybe a mistake or two, as long as you don't make that mistake over and over again. And we'll talk about that on the Phoenix protocol. Now, emotion might be a little bit involved, and it's always going to be a little bit involved, but I never want it to be the main factor as to why you blew an account. That's why trading psychology is important. Even though I say it isn't, it is, right? I say it to get people riled up, again, to spark an emotion. But it is important. So the reason I wanted to come back to this is because you are the same as me. If you had emotions, don't worry. That's normal. We'll go over the rest because it will show you exactly how I'm combating that, right? So the Phoenix Protocol, this is where everything ties up. Now, what is the Phoenix Protocol? The Phoenix is basically a mythological animal that is able to rise from the ashes. Even though it dies, it was going to rise from its ashes. Now, once you hit rock bottom, there's only one way, and that is up. And the Phoenix Protocol is a protocol to get you out of rock bottom better than ever before. Now, what does that mean? That means that yes, you are at rock bottom right now, or yes, you are frustrated right now, but that means that something is there that you can improve. But if you don't go through this protocol, you're never going to improve. And I'm talking to you. Yes, I'm talking to you. If you are at rock bottom right now, you need to be able to get out of there, and not only get out of there stronger. The way you become stoic is not by having a stoic life. It's by going through so many fucked up things that you then just become stoic on more reasonable things. Obviously, there's other ways. But why do you think I got here? I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars from the market. I've gotten funded dozens of times. I've blown accounts multiple times. I started my trading journey. I got funded with 10K. Then I tried at 100K and I blew both, right? But now I'm here. I've made so much money from trading. It's insane, right? Enough to make anyone feel comfortable with trading and blowing an account. So the Phoenix Protocol is what has always helped me get to that next level. Because the reality is the journey uphill is going to have ups and downs, just like an uptrend. An uptrend has bullish and bearish trends in the middle of it, right? We're going to have the same. So the Phoenix Protocol is the Phoenix to get you out of rock bottom stronger than ever before. It's a system to pick yourself back up and grow. Now, how to do it? You go over every single trade you took that has taken you to this level. If you're not journaling, you should be journaling, right? You have to go over every single trade you took. And there's one very clear reason as to why you have to do this. You need to write down every single mistake you made over all of those trades. Maybe you didn't forecast. Maybe you executed on a little bit too much risk. Maybe you're taking trades that you should not be taking. So you're going to write down all of the mistakes you made on a technical basis. Then you're going to write down all of the mistakes you made on an emotional basis. Then I want you to note down all of your emotional traits. I want you to tag them. This one was emotional. This one was emotional. Even if it's a win, right? If it was a revenge trade and it was a win, just say that it was emotional. Because you blew the account, you probably are not profitable. If you want to get profitable, link is in the description. You'll get funded this year. And then you break down where the emotional roller coaster started. And usually you'll pinpoint that to one trade that you should not have taken. And that trade resulted in a loss. It doesn't matter if it's minus 0.2. It doesn't matter if it's minus $5 or minus $1,000. That single trade that you should not have taken was the reason why you spiraled negatively. And now you have to look at over all of these things and find out how to not do it again. Because what happens is blowing an account is basically Swiss cheese. So many things have to happen at the same time for you to actually blow your account. The same thing in airplanes. Like the only reason why an airplane crashes is if this fails, 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 and then this fails, and then there's human error, and then all these things fail, and there's an unfortunate crash. The same thing is with trading if you're using proper risk management. So many things have to happen wrong. So you have to make so many mistakes at the same time or over a span of a week for, with good risk management, blowing an account. And that usually starts with one thing. And I want you to find out what that one thing is. Why? Because once you become aware of what that one thing is, you will be able to then pinpoint it as soon as it happens. So every time I'm trying to now enter any stupid trade, it happened to me. I paid $18,000 to go to this mastermind. Sorry, $19,500 to go to this mastermind. And one of the things was I was literally on the mastermind trying to trade a little bit. And I was like, so I'm taking a trade. I'm not putting on that much size, so probably I'll make $500, $1,000. I'm not paying attention to the mastermind, which I paid $20,000, $19,500. I'm going to say 20. I paid $20,000 to be on this mastermind. I'm trying to make $1,000 and I'm not paying attention to them, but I'm also not paying attention to the charts. There's absolutely no reward here. There's only risk. And I know from experience that this is what sparks so much of my account blowing. And so I stopped it instantly. I saw that and I was like, okay, boom, trade blocker is on, uninstall MetaTrader, block myself from TradingView, everything. Why? Because I needed to put that barrier in front of me. Because I understood over all of these other times that this happened, what was the key thing that made it happen. And for me, it always started with one trade that I should never take. And yes, that trade that I took on the mastermind would have actually resulted in a $7,000 win. But the reality is that at the same time, you never know what you would have done. Don't forget, this is an emotional trade. Who doesn't say that once it goes into a little bit of drawdown, you just close it, right? So this is usually the start of this roller coaster downhill that's going to absolutely crush you and blow your account. And that's why you're not making consistent money. So go over every single trade you took that led you to this account blown. Write down all of the technical mistakes you made. Write down all of the emotional mistakes you made. Note down all of the emotional trades. And then you'll notice, once you remove all the emotional trades, you're like, oh my God, I would have been profitable. I would have passed the account. So how many times this has happened to me? It's insane. And then you break down where the emotional roller coaster started. And usually it's on a trade that you should not have taken. So you study how to not do that again. You identify it so you can then, the next time that you identify it, you don't do it over again, right? And you can finally consistently make money. That's what I want you to do. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to solve them. Make mistakes, solve them. Make mistakes, solve them. You're human at the end of the day. You are going to make mistakes. My question to you is, are you going to learn from them or not? Part of it, for example, could be you've never paid for a mentorship or you always paid for the wrong one. I'm obviously selling my own cake here with the link in the description, but obviously what you're doing right now might not be working. So maybe you just need extra help. I'm just saying, link is in the description. Now, how am I bouncing back? Now, I'm going to be honest. What I went through is not enough data to make a significant shift. Obviously, I entered in a couple of trades losing streak. It is what it is. I just so happened to continue my losing streak on the account that was already in drawdown. It's perfectly fine. So for now, I'm not going to make a significant shift, right? Because there's so many people that are like, oh, I lost one trade. So what do I have to change? Oh my God, there was no sweep. So therefore, I always have to wait for... That's not how it works. You can't change your strategy based on one trade. The hell is that, right? So I'm not making a significant shift. The only thing I do is I focus on higher probability trades. I talk about this inside of the community, which is if I'm trading on the 1 minute and I take 1, 2, 3 losses in a row, I just go to the 5 minute, right? And if I take losses there, I just go to the 15 minute. Because like that, it's literally automatically increasing the probability of the trades I'm taking, right? Now, I will keep the risk and the management the same. Why? Because I still have enough accounts to keep this risk the same. Let's just say I'm making great money. And in case more accounts are blown, so in case one more account is blown, if the losing streak continues, I will just reduce the risk on the funded a little bit until I make another 10K, and then that should be very, very quick. And then I just go back to higher risk so I can scale up more and more and more. And then just reread point number 1. I'm not making a significant shift unless I see that this is blowing 1, 2, 3 accounts. Then there's definitely something I need to go through. And I'm going to be reducing risk very quickly. Usually, like 1 is fine. 2, you're already starting to go into the accounts that you really shouldn't be blowing, right? I do the Phoenix protocol basically after 2, right? So because 1 is simply not significant data, right? And if I blow 1 and I blow 2, I just continue going on a higher time frame until I get out of that losing streak and I make great returns afterwards. So lessons that I got from failing. Now, the lessons that I got from failing is that making mistakes is normal. Right? I've done this for years and years and years. Making mistakes is normal. Repeating them is not. Repeating them, you're just being stupid. You already know that you enter in this stupid trade and you've already identified it right now that you're entering in and you're still like, oh, but maybe this time it goes. If you were by my side and you would say that, I would slap you. I would absolutely slap you. Because it's stupid. You know you're making the mistake, yet you're still getting greedy. Greedy people will not make money in the market over the long term. It's the same people that go to the roulette because they won once and they're like, yeah, I can win again. The odds are stacked against you. Heavily, well, not on roulette, but let's say slots. You win once on slots and you're like, oh my God, I can do it over and over again. You just lose everything. It's done for you to lose. Prop firms are done for you to lose. Trading is done for you to lose. Everyone loses in trading, right? Unless you have a good edge. That's why you get funded in 100 days inside of Fund the Trading Blueprint. Obviously, this is not a claim, right? Because I can't make claims. I'm just saying from past data what we have. On average is 67 days. We're just looking what these people have been applying and we do it now. I tell you this on the YouTube videos. Now, making mistakes is normal, repeating them is not. Consistency over everything. At the end of the day, it's consistency. Is learning from your mistakes consistently. Is not repeating your mistakes consistently. It's having good risk management consistently, right? Consistency is everything. Most emotion comes from short-term thinking. So what I mean is that if I tell you right now that I have this bottle, like right here, this bottle looks huge. But if I pull it out, this bottle is tiny, right? But when you're here, when you're just looking at the bottle, you can't see anything else. So you need to zoom out. You need to find out that this bottle is just a tiny bit of this video right now because you're zoomed out, or I zoomed you out. So all the emotions happens because you think that this bottle is big. That is your problem. Is that you think that your problems are life-threatening, are something that is going to completely change your life. It's not true. Most of your mistakes are tiny blinks in your life, right? So most emotions come from short-term thinking. If you think about the bigger picture, you'll see like this is nothing. The way to the top will always have bigger failures. Listen, I was always scared of failing. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I was always very, very scared of failing. That's why once I failed the two accounts, when I started trading, it took me 1 year or like 10 months for me to ever go for another prop firm challenge because I was scared. I was very scared of failing. And this happened all my life. I was always very, very scared of failing and what other people would think when I fail. And what I've noticed is that, again, the fear of failures always comes from short-term thinking. Because at the end of the day, yes, I blew the account. I'll get funded in a week. Again, I don't care, right? And people always said that in order to make your first 10K, you need to lose your first 1K. In order to make your 100K, you need to lose 10K. In order to make your $1 million, you need to lose $100,000. And I was always like, I don't want this to happen to me. But guess what? It always did. Like the more money you make, the bigger your risk becomes. Meaning now if I want to develop something, it's going to cost me at least 10K. Before, I used to find a way to make it for free. Right? So the risks always just get bigger. So your mistakes get more costly. But it's fine because you're just doing this, right? There's an uptrend on trading. So the reality is that the way to the top isn't all rainbows and sunshine. The bigger you get, the bigger the mistakes you're going to make. And it's fine as long as you learn from them, right? So with that being said, Fund the Trading Blueprint, I talk about this all the time in Fund the Trading Blueprint. Sometimes people come up to me and tell me that they're in drawdown or something, and I just try to make them think about the bigger picture, make them be more rational than they're being right now, make them stop a little bit, think about what is going on, and that there's not much importance being put on that, and then eventually just grow out of it. We had one student. It took him a little bit longer to get funded, not the 100 days. Took him a little bit longer to get funded, but he had an account in 9% drawdown. And he asked me, hey, Kimmel, should I just blow the account? And I was like, no, you're going to get out of that drawdown and you're going to get funded from that account. He got out of the drawdown and he got funded in less than a year with that exact same account. How good of a trader do you now think that he believes he is? Very good, because he is. He got out of a huge drawdown. But every single one of you is probably like, oh, I'm in 9% drawdown. I'm going to blow my account and I'm going to buy a new one. Yeah, that's why over the long term, you don't become profitable, right? So Fund the Trading Blueprint, get funded in 100 days on average. This is over past data. This is not a future claim. $40 million in funding, 900K in payouts in less than 1 year. That is what we have gotten so far. And we have released some very, very good things inside of the community. Is it cheap? No, it's not cheap. But guess what? If you want to make 100K, you can't expect something for cheap, right? So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed. Sign up to Fund the Trading Blueprint. The link is going to be in the description if you are interested. With that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. If you want to buy the best futures prop firm challenge, Funding Ticks is the way to go. If you want to see how I trade, it's right here. Funding Ticks is right here. Code Kimmel for the best discount always. Peace.